So welcome to everyone. After coronavirus, the most important thought that might be bothering you and me, whether everyone in India, is China. As we see news, as we see television or the social media, Twitterati, everybody is now thinking about China, and it's important at this juncture for us to have some idea on what could be the implications of India-China standoff or face-off. As you could see, the recent clash between Indian Army and PLA, People's Liberation Army of China, at Galwan, and the tragic loss of Indian soldiers has attracted global attention, and this has also led to a significant deterioration in the bilateral relations between India and China. We do have different standpoints that you see in various newspapers or social media. Some people are overtly aggressive. We have taught Pakistan a lesson. Can we teach China a lesson? Or what could be the implications of the standoff between India and China? So it's important for us to have some idea. The purpose of this is to share some of my ideas on the implications of China and India standoff. Friends, we do have three broad areas where we can see the impact. One, the economic impact. The second one is foreign policy, broader foreign policy. The third one is the defense or military related preparedness, strategic importance. If you think about the economic impact, in 1980s, India and China almost have same GDP growth, and even both quantum and the growth rates are almost similar, but we are far behind China in economic strengths, in the economic fundamentals. In our day-to-day life, there is a China factor everywhere. It's not simply mobiles, but more serious aspects of drugs and medicines. India is considered the generic hub of the world, and every third tablet being used or consumed in US is made by Indian pharma companies. But friends, we are dependent on China. See, let me give you some broad overview. China is not a small player for India. China accounts for 14% of India's imports, as I have written here also for some clarity's sake, and 65% of India's pharma raw materials. They are called active pharmaceutical ingredients as well as drug intermediates are being imported from China as we speak today. This is the data of the Ministry of Commerce as well as the Pharmaceutical Exports Promotion Council, PharmExcel, which is the apex body for pharma exports in India. So 65% of pharma industry raw materials are being brought. In fact, when we had COVID, there is a worry that India's pharma supplies were only adequate stocks, raw material stocks were adequate only for 3 months. If the lockdown has not ended, the supply of Chinese raw materials had not been resumed, our pharma industry would have been in big doldrums. So this is also another dependency for us. And of course, we have others like cell phones and electronics, which are being imported from China in a significant manner. So there are a wide range of imports from China for us. It's not that we will simply dismiss of China as something which is just a military rival or whatever. We do have economic dependency on China, whereas in Pakistan we don't have any dependency. Whether you have the ties or not, it doesn't matter, but China we can't simply cut off our economic ties. And in terms of value, these are quite huge. Though I have written FY20, the period is actually between April, the data available as we speak now is from April 2019 and February 2020. India imported goods worth $62.4 billion from China, remember, but our exports are only about 15.5 billion. So we do have a trade deficit of 47 billion with China. So obviously the foreign trade or bilateral trade between India and China are in its favor. Okay, so the point is we can't simply wriggle out ourselves from the economic impact of China or any kind of relations. So a cautious policy is required. How do we go about it? The self-reliance is the keyword. Atmanirbhar package, government has been talking about it. For example, in pharma we have already started this. The last year itself, last 2-3 years itself, there have been tangible efforts. The product incentive based scheme has been rolled out for pharma API production in the country. You know, the efforts are showing some results. Compared to last year and this year, the pharmaceutical imports from China have come down by 4%, which is not much but is significant. We do import $3.5 billion of pharma raw materials from China. So in the last 1 year, the efforts at self-reliance has brought it down by about 4%, which is a good news, but we need to go further. The dependency on or shielding of Indian PF or the pension funds from Chinese investments has also been taken up by the government. If you see, the cap has been put at 49%. That was news in last 1 year. So Atmanirbhar or self-reliance is the way forward to keep ourselves immune from the China adverse impact if the bilateral relations are deteriorating further. That's an important point. Secondly, it is also important for you to understand that going beyond economy, we also have foreign policy related issues where China can become a serious thorn or problem for us. Our foreign policy, see, we have Chinese leaders coming to Mahabalipuram. In fact, I read some interesting write-up in Hindu some time back from Mahabalipuram to Galwa, where we hosted them. On the other hand, whatever they are doing. So our foreign policy needs to be more broader now, factoring the opposition from China. In fact, in today's newspaper, I just read, we have one interesting writer in Hindu by Professor Jacob, who teaches international studies in Jawaharlal Nehru University. He has brought up a very correct point by saying that the government decision to take over the administration of Kashmir and the Article 370 on August 5th last year has also irked China. Definitely, it's a very interesting point that if you can recall, China had actually opposed the abolition of the article on Kashmir because it did not like Ladakh to be under government control, central government control. Okay. It also was not happy with India's infrastructure developments, roads and others, between China and Pakistan economic corridor. China is also worried about whether we are in the process of taking back some of the territories from China which are under its control, like Askin, for example, from the LAC. So there is a conscious effort by China to take a stand of opposition against India in the foreign policy matters. And you see, China was getting more and more closer to Pakistan. Even Nepal, for instance. Nepal has redrawn its political map, claiming some of the territories of India as its own, and it was very aggressive. For a nation like Nepal, taking an aggressive border dispute with India, territorial dispute with India, is something unthinkable. Now, who was behind Nepal? Obviously, there could be some instigation from China. This is what the analysis has to be there. We need to think the dangers and perils first, then talk about advantages. Okay, so what India should do, like India has done recently in Moscow, where we are trying to build up some support from Russia against China, right? We need to mobilize the global diplomatic support for India. The Chinese aggression on Galwan cannot be accepted. Like how India had mobilized support for its action or operation against Pakistan when our fighter pilot was taken hostage, a similar kind of diplomatic mission has to be done to shield China or to prevent China from getting more and more closer to the opponents of India, Pakistan mainly. We should also see a diplomatic opportunity to getting closer to US, forgetting our non-alignment hangover, that in the post-COVID scenario, there has been a global feeling that China was somewhat responsible to this kind of corona or whatever. So it's also important that we need to look at it in a bigger way, that we should mobilize support of even US for this. Nations like France, Germany and US are also now a little jittery over its relations with China. Maybe it's an opportune time for Indian foreign policy to be more broad-based and to be more aggressive in mobilizing diplomatic support. Thirdly, military capabilities. It is also important that we ramp up our military capabilities. I was just speaking to a grocery store next door near my home. He had a simple point when our great patriot, all soldiers, but Colonel Santosh Babu, he was his martyrdom was being discussed everywhere. So he was simply saying, sir, China is not like Pakistan, we have to be careful. So this is the common sense. This is the common sense perspective of India's capabilities as far as China is concerned. I am sure India can give a fitting lesson to China, no doubt about it. India can give a strong response to China if it moves on aggression. We have great patriots in our army and our defense forces are very strong, but we need to ramp up our infrastructure. We need to strengthen our capabilities, air capabilities especially, and also sea capabilities. Ground capabilities we do have enough, but air strike capabilities and the naval capabilities need to be stepped up for India, because if there is a possible collaboration between China and Pakistan, our task will become all the more difficult. So a relook at our military preparedness is also important at this point of time with proper infrastructure. The objective for India is always to be peaceful. We are peace lovers. We are land of the Buddha. We are land of Ashoka, who spoke about Dharma policy. We are land of Mahatma, who always spoke about non-violence. Our preference is always for peace. But friends, we should also be ready. We should also be ready to teach a lesson if something happens. So augmenting military and defense capabilities is also very, very important for us. We need to keep our fingers crossed to see how developments can change in future. Of course, at military commander level, China and India has always agreed on one hand, but we have a statement from Chinese diplomatic office today, Chinese government, that India should vacate Galwan Valley. So China is very good in doing simultaneous things. You know, on one hand they are talking about peace, they are attacking our soldiers, killing them. On the other hand, they are saying we are ready for a compromise on LAC. At the same time, they are also saying India should evacuate Galwan Valley. So there were conflicting views. A person or a nation talks conflicting versions. Definitely, there is a problem. We need to be prepared. Okay. So friends, this is some important points I thought we all should know for this, and that's it. Thanks for joining me in listening to this brief talk. Jai Hind.